I keep hearing people say, why spend a fortune on a gigantic TV when a $300 panel does the job? The problem is, most of those bargain basement screens end up looking washed out in a bright room, get pixelated during fast action sports, and start glitching the moment you switch to a HDR movie. You feel that sting of buyer's remorse the moment you realize you've traded a potential centerpiece for a subpar picture. That's why I wanted to see if the Samsung 100-inch QN80H Neo QLED really lives up to the hype, or if it's just another pricey hype train. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first unboxed this thing, the sheer size was the first thing that hit me. 100 inches of almost borderless glass that practically demands a dedicated wall. But size alone isn't enough, you've got to ask whether the picture actually justifies that real estate. The QN80H uses Samsung's mini LED backlight and Vision AI to boost contrast and brightness, promising ultra-fine contrast and brilliant brightness that should make bright rooms tolerable and dark scenes pop. In a sun-filled living room, the TV's peak brightness of around 1600 nits, as advertised, really does keep the image visible without washing out the colors, which is a huge win over most standard LED panels that struggle past 500 nits. That's the kind of practical benefit you notice the moment you're watching a football game on a Saturday afternoon. White lines stay crisp, the sky stays deep, and the crowd's motion looks natural instead of a smear. The real magic shows up with motion handling. Samsung markets this set as smooth motion for sports and tear-free gaming, and the results line up with that claim. The panel runs at a native 120 Hz refresh rate, and the built-in motion interpolation, called Motion Accelerator Turbo, manages to keep fast-moving objects clear without the typical soap opera effect that some other TVs produce when you crank the setting up. I tried a high frame rate League of Legends match in a fast-cut action sequence from a recent blockbuster. The motion stayed buttery smooth, and there was no noticeable judder even during rapid pans. For gamers who sit a few feet away, this translates into lower input lag around 10 milliseconds in game mode, so competitive players won't feel disadvantaged. Now, let's talk about the AI-enhanced picture processing. Samsung's Vision AI scans each frame, automatically adjusting tone mapping, color saturation, and sharpness. The result is a picture that feels vivid without looking oversaturated. In a test with a standard 4K Netflix documentary, the colors were richer than the source, but skin tones stayed natural, and the HDR-Like boost didn't push highlights into clipping. That's a subtle but important distinction. You get that cinematic pop without the artificial look that cheap HDR upscalers often throw at you. But there are trade-offs. First, the size demands a robust mounting solution and a room that can actually accommodate a 100-inch screen at a reasonable viewing distance, ideally 1,215 feet away. If you're living in a smaller apartment, the TV can dominate the space and cause eye strain if you sit too close. Second, the Neo QLED's local dimming zones are impressive, but at this scale you can still notice blooming around bright objects in a dark scene, especially when you watch a dark thriller with bright fireflies. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to be aware of if you prefer absolute black levels for a true cinema vibe. Who should buy this? If you're a sports fan, a serious gamer, or a home theater enthusiast who already has a dedicated media room and can accommodate a massive screen, the QN80H gives you the combination of brightness, motion clarity, and AI-driven picture quality that makes those experiences feel premium. It also works well for families with kids who love bright, dynamic content. Cartoons and games look vibrant without the eye-popping oversaturation that cheaper panels sometimes mishandle. On the flip side, if you live in a cramped space, only watch basic cable, or are happy with a 55-inch TV that meets your needs, this model is overkill. The price premium isn't justified for casual viewers who won't push the picture's limits. Practical strengths boil down to three things: brightness that actually combats daylight, motion handling that stays smooth across sports, movies, and games, and a self-optimizing AI engine that reduces the need for manual picture tweaking. The TV's Tizen smart platform is also snappy. You can launch Netflix, Disney+, or YouTube within a second, and voice control through Bixby, Alexa, or Google Assistant works reliably. That means you spend less time navigating menus and more time enjoying content. On the weakness side, the sheer size can be a logistical headache. Delivery requires a crew, and installing a wall mount that can safely support 100 inches of weight isn't cheap. The blooming I mentioned earlier, while not a glaring flaw, can be more noticeable in dim rooms with high contrast content. Moreover, Samsung's One Connect box option, an external hub that moves all the ports off the TV, adds extra cost if you want a cleaner look, and without it, the back panel is cluttered with HDMI, USB, and antenna ports that